Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Larry and this is Dad What's for Dinner. I want to start off by apologizing. I haven't posted any content for a while. For those of you that have band kids in Texas, or maybe it's band kids all over, but from about, well, the beginning of school until the end of October, it's just one long band season. It's called Bandtober. And that pretty much just takes over life. And that's kind of why there hasn't been a lot of content lately, because dinner time has been what's quick, fast, and easy, and that doesn't necessarily make the greatest content. We have, shame to say, well, not shame to say, because we haven't takeout. I like Chick-fil-A. You know what? You got to do what you got to do. It gets about getting dinner on the table, and sometimes you got to go with what's quickest, most convenient, easiest thing to do, and it just doesn't always make great content, being in the drive-thru or, whipping up some hamburgers or, a frozen meal or, whatever is convenient. But that all being said, we're here today. We're going to make a recipe. We're going to make some dessert items today. We're going to make blondies. Blondies, for those of you that aren't in the know, are basically brownies that are sugar-based as opposed to chocolate-based. The story that I've heard, and I don't know how true it is that blondies came about because somebody, for whatever reason, didn't like chocolate brownies. So they made them without the chocolate. My feeling is that somebody probably was making chocolate chip cookies and decided, I don't want to divvy up the dough and make a bunch of cookies. I just want to put it all in one pan and be done. Because that's pretty much what blondies are. But if a brownie and a cookie made a baby, that's what blondies are. So anyway, that's what we're doing today, making some blondies. And it's a pretty fun recipe, pretty quick recipe. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. First thing that we need to do is prep our pan. And we're going to do this old school, just like my mama taught me. And we're just going to treat it with butter and flour. Just go ahead and that's probably about, I don't know, a tablespoon of butter. And this is just an 8x8 pan. You could use a 9x9, I suppose. But the recipe that I'm making is, for this size pan. You want to get that in there nice, covered. And then we're going to finish that off with flour. And this is, again, I know that there are powders and sprays that you can buy that kind of replicate this, but well, ordinarily it doesn't clump up like this, so I'm not real sure what's going on, but there we go. And you just tap it until you get it very well covered. And then you take your excess and in the end you're left with that. The next step I'm taking here is not absolutely necessary, but I'm doing it just to make my life easier. At the end, we're going to go ahead and put a parchment sling in here, and that will help us when it's time to remove. I'm also going to just smear some extra butter on that just to make it that much easier to release on the other side of the baking process. And then there you go. And we're all set and our pan is prepared. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on mixing stuff here. We're going to start with our wet. And we've also started to preheat our oven to 350. We're going to start off with 1 stick of butter. So go ahead and put that in. And this is melty. I don't know how well the camera's picking this up, but it's not liquid, but it's melted, right? So you can see that it's moving about, but it's liquidy. And to that, we're going to go ahead and add 1 egg. And we're going to add in 1 cup of brown sugar. Okay, break that egg yolk up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cream that mixture together. You could do this in a stand mixer. I have found that for this size recipe that the stand mixer is probably a little too much. So I'm just going to use my hand mixer. And we'll just give that a go. And this is just classic, you know, cookie making. You want to cream your butter and sugar so you get a nice pale, creamy mixture. Okay, so I think that we'll call that good. We'll set that aside. Go ahead and work on our dry. In our dry, we have 1 cup of flour, just regular AP flour. We have, oh, you know what? We'll mix this up together in a second. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Should we get that all in there? We have a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we'll go ahead and mix that to combine it. And then we will go ahead and add our dry to our wet. And we're going to fold that in. You don't really want to overwork this. Keep going until the dry flour is gone. And I'm just realizing just now that I forgot to add the vanilla. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's just a teaspoon of vanilla. Should have probably added that in when I was creaming the butter and sugar. But it'll work. Okay. Okay. So now I have about somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 cup of nuts. This is just the last of the walnuts that I had in the pantry. You could use pecans or whatever kind of nuts you wanted, or you could just leave the nuts out altogether. It is up to you. Okay, and once you get that fairly well combined, and again, you don't want to overwork it, but you want it fairly well combined, we're going to go ahead and add that, or not add it, but we're going to place it in our prepared pan. And then we're just going to spread it out evenly across the pan. All right. All right. So the last step, probably should have had this ready to go, is sprinkling chocolate chips or chocolate chunks or whatever form of chocolate you want, just across the top evenly. You probably could have just combined this in with the nuts and it wouldn't be any more or less different. This is just how I like to do it. And again, this is milk chocolate. This is what I had in the pantry. Probably could use any type of chocolate that you want. You could use white chocolate. You could use butterscotch, whatever you choose. All right, so once your oven is preheated, you want to go ahead and put this in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, so we have our oven preheated to 350. We're going to go ahead and put this in for 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, so this has been in the oven for 30 minutes. We're going to go ahead and test with a toothpick. See if it comes out clean. And I'm going to call that good. So you want to let them cool off to room temperature. As tempting as it might be, it's kind of like trying to pick up chocolate chip cookies right after they come out of the oven. You got to let them cool so they'll set up. And we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll be back. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and pull these out and cut them. Just pull them out of the pan. Pull the paper off. And cut them into whatever size you feel appropriate. I think I'm going to cut 4 this way. And then we'll cut 4 this way, and that should give us 16 bars. So there we are. So this is Blondie's little dessert here for Dad. What's for dinner? I'm Larry. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, take care and God bless.